Hey, hi, hello, how are you? Because honestly, I'm pretty tired. In case you couldn't pick up from my last video, my name is Eric, and I'm a college student. Or maybe you didn't watch my video and this is your introduction to my channel. I guess that could also be the case. I'm currently attending the University of the Pacific with a major in English and a minor in education, aspiring to become an English teacher or professor. The issue with teaching an English course today, however, is how likely it is a student will attempt using ChatGPT. In case for some reason you don't know what ChatGPT is, then you should probably watch my last video because I'm not going to reiterate that here. Anywho, it's really simple to find a situation where some knucklehead has attempted to use ChatGPT to write their essay. So today we're going to rip a page out of the Hypothetical Fool's Handbook. Though we're not just going to have ChatGPT write us an essay, we're going to compare it to another essay, except this one is written by human hands. In fact, it was written by my hands. Last semester I took a Shakespeare class, and I really enjoyed it. Admittedly, Shakespeare is an artist whose work I respect more than I enjoy. It's just difficult for me personally to get into that old English writing. That being said, Shakespeare's work is undeniably influential. And if I'm being completely honest, I'm going to have to prepare myself for teaching Shakespeare if I'm going to become an English professor. The final project for this course was a comparison essay. The comparison had to be made between two of Shakespeare's works. I ended up comparing Shakespeare's The Taming of the Shrew and The Merchant of Venice, and my thesis was how victims are created by their circumstances. All things considered, I'm really proud of the essay I ended up writing. So now, we're going to ask ChatGPT to do the same thing. Okay, this was honestly more than I was expecting. Alright, to start off, the headings and introduction paragraph lack that human touch. The headings don't have any fun or unique titles, they just say what the paragraph is going to be about. And the introduction, they don't even talk about Shakespeare's background, nor does it narrow down one subject. Instead, it lists several subjects the essay will explore. If you look at my introduction paragraph, I've provided a brief summary of Shakespeare's background and legacy. I've also narrowed down my thesis without directly stating what it is. Then we come back to good old ChatGPT's essay, and it becomes night and day. There's also the line that states, "The thesis of this essay argues." It's important to remember that you should avoid statements like these. A thesis statement should be woven into the text organically, not directly. Then there's red flag number 2, evidence. Or lack thereof in this case. After writing an initial draft, one of the main pieces of feedback I was given was that I needed to include more evidence. So I acknowledged specific events from both texts and direct quotes to better support my arguments in a second draft, even citing page numbers and lines. Maybe we can give ChatGPT the benefit of the doubt in this regard. Not every copy of every Shakespeare tale is formatted the same, but the writing in every copy is the same, so there should be quotes to support the arguments the essay attempts to make. So the first body states, and I quote, "In The Taming of the Shrew, Katharina Minola is initially portrayed as a sharp-tongued and independent woman who challenges the traditional gender roles of her time. However, her transformation into the obedient wife of Petruchio is not a voluntary change, but one driven by societal expectation that women must be subjugated to male authority. Katharina's victimization arises from these pressures placed upon her." Looking at the checklist, there's nothing. It's followed by, "Katharina's victimhood is not rooted in her own behavior, but in her social context, which demands that she becomes a compliant wife." Okay? Can we get a bit of that social context? It's easy to say or claim anything, but if you have nothing to back up that claim, it ultimately holds little to no weight. Like, I could say I could solve a Rubik's Cube, I could say I could beat the hardest video game ever, and I could say I can grow a six-pack no sweat, but I don't have the evidence to back it up. Now, we only have The Merchant of Venice to discuss. It wrote, and I quote, "Shakespeare's The Merchant of Venice presents Shylock, a Jewish moneylender who is also a victim of his circumstances, but in a different manner. Shylock is a victim of the rampant anti-Semitism of his society. Throughout the play, he is marginalized, mocked, and despised for his faith and profession. His hatred towards Christians, particularly Antonio, stems from a lifetime of being wronged, both personally and professionally. This excerpt solidifies my biggest issue with this essay. It's all tell, no show. I'm not afraid to admit that my essay is far from perfect, but I mean, look at this! One of the potential causes towards Catherine's hot-headedness was Baptista, her father, favoring Bianca, her sister, over Catherine. An implication of this cause is also seen in Act 1, Scene 1. The quote, "And so farewell, Catherine. You may stay, for I have more to commune with Bianca." Lines 103 to 104, page 13. Baptista prioritizing to assist Bianca over Catherine is a sign of favoritism. That's only one thing I had to say about Taming of the Shrew. Now, on the other hand, with The Merchant of Venice, all that said, Antonio as an adult chooses to hate and berate Jewish individuals. In Act 4, Scene 1, when he says, "I pray you, think you question with the Jew," page 67, lines 11 to 13, Tabasino is an example of his discrimination. And this was only one piece of the Merchant of Venice section that I wrote about. At least I put some effort into this. So with all of what we have learned today in mind, I think it's safe to say that, no, ChatGPT is not a reliable method to write an English essay, and I sincerely doubt I'm the only person to think this. I know some of you guys are going to jump on me for this somewhat controversial response, but I think ChatGPT's response is mildly impressive, but not enough to convince me that a human wrote it. Unfortunately, ChatGPT still provides plenty of inconsistencies when writing an English essay, thus making it unreliable. Yes, it can acknowledge complex ideas, but it cannot explore these topics in any meaningful way, thus I would suggest you not using it. So, do me a favor. Please don't use ChatGPT to write an English essay. I promise you, you will not be satisfied with the results. Please, for me, I would very much appreciate that. Anyways, if you excuse me, I'm gonna go burn off some steam in my attempt to build a six-pack. Wish me luck, and I guess if I don't die lifting up weights, I'll see you guys next time.